So having worked with Pearl Jam, for all these different projects and, all throughout the years, is there any one memory in particular that stands out to you that means something special?
Yeah, so the way my boss worked, Rick Prosher, he was producing the sessions that I was on. We did this B song, Dirty Frank, which was released, but it was kind of almost like a joke song. I think the band had just gotten off tour with Chili Peppers, so it kind of had this Chili Peppers influence. But the way Rick worked is he would put in 8-10 hours, but then allow the band to stay a little bit late with me. So he would kind of instruct the band, stay another couple more hours and work with Jonathan on whatever you guys want to work on. So I think we were recording Dirty Frank, and Rick left me with the band. So now I'm engineering. It's just me and the band. And I remember this song, Dirty Frank, it was kind of about this bus driver that he was a cannibal. And Eddie's singing about how he was eating people, and I remember Eddie. There was in the back in the garage. We have a wood shop back there, and we had a bunch of tools. And Eddie had this idea of wanting to sound like cutting bone or something. So he asked if I could drag a microphone back into the garage, and we were starting to use little electric tools for the recording. And then that night we had to mix it. It was had to be out. This was their last night in the studio, so they're like, Jonathan, we got to mix the song. I'm like, cool, let's mix it. So I got to sit and mix the song Dirty Frank just with the band, just me and the band. And again, I was 19 or 20 years old and mixing a song, by Pearl Jam. And it was pretty phenomenal. So when the song came out, it was the B-side, back when they had B-sides, it was the B-side to Even Flow. Mm-hmm. And bless their hearts, I know they tried, but the credits that they gave me on the record, if you look at Dirty Frank, it says mixed by John. Spelt wrong, John, and no last name.
Aw, damn, dude.
So it's still a cool credit.
Yeah.
And it's a really good memory. I love that. Was really exciting for me to get to I'm mixing a Pearl Jam song.
That's so cool. Did you ever run it by the guys? Hey, FYI, you kind of got my credit wrong?
No, I haven't. Well, I see Mike McCready now and again, but I wouldn't. No, it's super cool. It's all for the history books now.
Hey, no worries. It makes for a good story.
Yeah, totally. Like I said, 10 was already out, and I think that they were. This is my interpretation. I don't know, what the exact history is. You'd have to talk to them. But my impression was when I was working with them, they were preparing to do the video for Even Flow. So this was their career was launching, and they knew it. So what I sensed was that they were doing a lot of business deals. So that we spent time recording, but it seemed like a good chunk of the time they were out in the lounge. Actually, you can't see, but there's a rope swing hanging above us. Okay. And I remember Eddie would be swinging in this rope swing right here, and Stone and Jeff, and they were just talking business really intensely.
Saying that rope swing right there?
Yeah, in fact, if you go, there's a picture out in the lounge of Jeff and Matt swinging on the rope swing, but when we took over the studio, we tied that thing up just for liability reasons.
Really?
Yeah.
Are there any photos of it?
You can find photos on the web of them here, standing right here, swinging on that rope swing.
Really? Mm-hmm. Did anything ever happen? Did it ever fall off or anything?
Lots of people fall off. I don't remember Pearl Jam falling off, but I was at parties here where I was, the control room's over there, I was sitting in the control room. This is soundproof. Unfortunately I got the Neve lights off. But I would hear a thud in that room, which is soundproof. I'd look out and see someone on the ground, they hit their head on the floor, but no one was seriously hurt as far as I know. But
really?
This was before I owned the studio. So, my impression of Pearl Jam too, something that I caught that I think was a unique moment with Pearl Jam recording was, at the time, from what I know, Stone Gossard was the main songwriter, and I've seen the history movie, so I know that, at one point Eddie sort of stepped into songwriting. But what I think I observed early on was Eddie was in the vocal booth, so right behind me over there was the vocal booth where the singer would sing. So Eddie wasn't there, and he didn't have a guitar in there, he was just singing, and Stone and Mike had their guitars out here. And I remember at one point, they were taking a break, and Eddie wandered out, grabbed a guitar, and dragged into the vocal booth, and was starting to play and sing a song. And it was his own thing.
The vocal booth's right there?
Yep. And my impression was Stone seemed irritated, man, what are you doing, Eddie? Put that guitar down.
Yeah.
He was kind of taking up some precious studio time to record some ideas. And I didn't really know at the time one thing or the other, but I did, recognize Eddie was having ideas, Yeah. They weren't necessarily welcomed by the rest of the band, was my impression. I have a great memory of Mike McCready, like I said, the band was so focused on business. It was a really intense time. They were very much down to business, and they were constantly like, my impression was they were talking to their manager a lot. But Mike had this really like lightheartedness, and he would walk in the control room and he'd introduce himself. Hey, I'm Mike McCready. Like, what's your name? Jonathan Plum. Cool. How long you worked here? And he just got we got to know each other a little bit, and I always thought that was really sweet. Yeah. So if that means Mike, maybe, I don't know if he was less involved with the business. He just seemed more lighthearted.
So you're 19 years old. You're very young. You're working with this huge band. Was that intimidating at all for you?
Yeah, it was, because I was a fan, So I knew where I was at. I knew these guys were going to be big, and in my mind, they already were big. So yeah, I was just a bumbling fan at that point. In fact, I remember when Gossard walked in the studio, and I think I was just so nervous, I called him Mike. And it's like, I knew which was which, but I was like, hey, Mike. I've done that a few times. I did that to Jeff Tate from Queensryche. I called him Chris, which was like the worst thing, because Chris DeGarmo wasn't in the band anymore. But I got to meet Jeff Tate from Queensryche, and the first thing I did was call him Chris. So yes, I get super nervous and excited. And to me, they're just as big as rock stars as anybody else, and I'm just as big as a fan as anybody else. So
it's hilarious. And so when you do that accidental name mistake, what is usually the reaction? Do they care at all?
Everyone's cool. That's kind of the unique thing about my position, and I know you've talked to other engineers as well, is that we're in a professional environment, so we get all this time to hang out, but we're working. So it's not like we don't have to be friends, but we end up spending hours and hours working together, and so it's professional, but it's also, you get a good hang at the same time. So I don't feel like like these people weren't my friends, but I did get a good long chunk of time to hang out, watch them work, and I had to work. We had to interact together, and you kind of learn about personalities through, who is maybe more friendly at the time and stuff like that.
Would you mind talking to me a little bit about your relationship with that band and how it started?
Sure. So I got a job here at London Bridge Studio in 1990. I was 19 years old, and at that point, so 1990, so Pearl Jam 10 was already out. And I was just a huge fan at that point, and I didn't know the band, but at that point they hadn't broken yet. They had broken in Seattle, and that they were really popular in Seattle, but they hadn't had national success yet. They hadn't made a music video or anything like that. So they were just playing local shows around Seattle and creating a really big buzz. And I was already in the studio world, but got a job here working with the original owner, Rick Parasher. I was basically got hired to be his assistant engineer, which is kind of like gold, because it was 1990, and I'd seen Pearl Jam 10 had just been recorded here. Before that, Temple the Dog was recorded here. Before that, Mother Love Bone was recorded here, and Facelift, Alice in Chains Facelift was recorded here. So I was a huge fan of all that stuff, and I came in as an assistant engineer, and I think within the first 3-4 months working here, Pearl Jam came back in to record Dirty Frank. Was done here that I worked on, and some of the single soundtrack, State 11 Trust, I think I worked on that a little bit. So again, it was out, 10 was already out, but I think Pearl Jam came in twice early on for maybe like 3-4 days. And I was 19, 20 years old, just sort of observing what was going on, and it was pretty exciting.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you see, make sure to subscribe for more. All the videos on this channel are original. I'm the one conducting all the interviews and editing all the videos together. So if you guys like what you see and you want to support, the best way to do so is honestly just to subscribe. Lots more to come.